Hey, friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Ssemanda, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power. Friends, what if the cure, the key to your healing for chronic inflammation was sitting right on your spice rack? As we go through life, we're hit with all kinds of health challenges, and staying well can be challenging, but sometimes food is the best medicine. And our next guest is well versed in Ayurvedic medicine and is able to really look at how spices can contribute to your wellness routine. And she is also incredibly knowledgeable about elemental design. Dr. Shivani Gupta, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start off by just asking some basic questions. For those people who are new to Ayurveda, can you tell us a little bit about exactly what it is and who it's for?
Absolutely. So, ancient Ayurvedic medicine is a whole system of health healing and medicine from India that's over 5,000 years old. And it truly can support all of us at all ages, men and women, from birth all the way till the end of our lives. Ayurveda is prevention. Ayurveda means the science of life. And so it's really this preventive root cause medicine system that shows us how to live according to our circadian rhythm, how to eat and when to eat, how to utilize super spices as I teach around like really maintaining good health and then also in a medicinal capacity as well. It teaches a lot about self care and how we can use a self care rhythm daily that's detoxifying and supportive of our system. And then we teach about elemental design, this idea that we are each made up of the elements of nature. And when we take those and put them together, we can understand our own individual mind body constitution. And that helps us build the vitality and vibrant health that we crave.
Beautiful. So for people who would love to explore elemental design, what's the first best practical step?
So on my website at drshivani.com, I have the elemental design quiz. It's free. It's actually pretty quick. And once you take it, you come to understand which mind body constitution you are. And learning this is the perfect first step. So for example, some people are more vata, as we call it, which is air and ether. And so vata people will have certain traits. They'll tend to be thinner or more lean than most of the population. They'll tend to be taller or shorter than most of the population. These are your creative beings who are always in motion, always coming up with creative ideas. And so the Vata crew needs support because their symptoms can be things like insomnia, anxiety, dryness in the system, dry hair, dry skin. They can tend towards constipation, and they can tend towards being so all over the place they don't finish what they start. And so our advice and guidance for the Vata crew revolves around foods and lifestyle rituals that keep them very grounded so that they can ground that air and ether energy that's always in motion. It's kind of a busybody energy who can never stop. And so that's how we support someone who's primarily a Vata energy. Then you have a crew called the Pitta crew. Pitta people are fire and water. So it's like a fiery energy. So Pitta people, I'm a Pitta, we tend to be medium bodied, tend to have early graying in our hair, tend to have reddish skin tones, can have like red hair, reddish skin is often like a trait. Pitta people tend to be really fiery, sharp. They're leaders, organized. When out of balance, kind of perfectionists. And when Pittas are out of balance, they tend to be inflamed. Skin shows up red and inflamed. Gut is inflamed. They tend to get hangry and angry and frustrated. I call them a volcano. They tend to erupt on everyone around them, frustrated and angry, which is always interesting. And so for the Pitta crew, we give them certain homework around eating summer foods, cooling foods, staying hydrated with cool drinks just to keep themselves cooled down. And we say eat less spicy food or hot food. So really customization around food and drinking and really managing the day and the rhythm really well. And then finally, there's a third body type called Kapha. And a Kapha person is earthy with some water. This is someone who's bigger, like bigger bones, stronger, tend to have round features, round face, round eyes, oily skin, thicker, curlier hair. And so this person is deeply loyal. They're sweet. They're kind. They love everyone around them. They're in service to everybody else. This is someone who's deeply loyal. And so with the Kapha crew, from a health perspective, sometimes they can struggle with a slower metabolism or slower digestion, tendency towards low mood or depression. And so we have a support for them to help lift them up and get their energy moving so that they are more supported. So we say work out first thing in the morning, get that energy moving, find a friend because you might be resistant to change and that's okay. And so we really customize to that constitution. And so when you take a quiz, you're learning your primary constitution. Everyone's born with a primary constitution and a secondary constitution, or some people are balanced in all three, and we call that three doshic. And so it's really fun to look at someone sometimes and be like, oh, that's a pitta. Or it's also important to know in your relationships who you're with. Like, what is my spouse? What are my kids? And then you can really start to intelligently navigate with everyone and give them what they truly need, as well as giving yourself what you truly need.
Oh, I really love that. So I want to ask about the different spices because there's so much out there. And how do people even begin?
That's a great question. I think it starts with getting curious and getting open. A lot of times, different ethnic cuisines reach into different groups of spices. So when you have Mexican food, you're going to use more of that ground cumin and you're going to use different spices to make that taco seasoning or different mixes that they have. In Indian cooking, we have quite a variety of spices we use. We are layered in our spice use in our dishes. And then you can look into other cultures as well. And so I am Indian by birth. And I remember growing up, whenever I got sick, when I was in India, I'd go to my grandma's house and she would just mix up a tea or an elixir and she'd be like, just drink this. And it would have such profound healing qualities on me. And then I would think to myself, well, when I'm in America, where I'm born in America, I'd go to the pediatrician, I'd get a script for antibiotics. That was how they treated me here when I was sick. But in India, it was from a spice cabinet and both worked. So who is better? And that's what led me to studying Ayurveda. And when I saw that in the Ayurveda schools, they just take you out back to the garden and they have planters ready with every medicinal spice. It's like fenugreek and fennel and cinnamon and ginger and cilantro, hing. We have a lot of spices that we don't even use here in the West. Ashwagandha, brahmi, tulsi, ginger, turmeric. And I was like, you can heal a human with just these spices. That is not something we know about in the West. And so just getting curious and starting to play with them and use them for any struggles that you have in your health is my step one. And then starting to understand that the super spices are powerful superfoods. So many of us are reaching for superfoods because we're like, oh my God, I just need more energy. I need to feel better. As I'm aging, I've got joint pain and aches and brain fog and my mood is off and my digestion's off and I wake up with stiffness and the list goes on and on. And we know now through modern science that is not just aging. When you're like, I guess this is aging. It's not aging, it's inflammaging. And so my invitation to everyone is start to use super spices. Have ginger lemon tea every morning. Super easy. Just chop up some ginger, cut open a lemon, squeeze it in, steep that tea for just a few minutes and have that before your morning coffee. And then let's see in 2 weeks, how is your gut digestive fire and how is your energy and mood? Another simple tactic is to start just playing with those spices. We have a lot of different spice mixes in Ayurveda that can be so helpful. My main body of research lies in turmeric. Once I studied all the super spices, I realized turmeric is a powerhouse. And I wanted to start understanding how can we use turmeric for all these different struggles in our health. And so I did my whole PhD dissertation on it, dove deep. Turmeric is a very powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. We know we have this gut-brain axis, and so curcumin goes in there from turmeric. It's the extract from turmeric, heals the gut lining. I think of it as a super janitor, goes in the body and takes out everything that's bad, like zombie cells, senescent cells, malignant cells, like whatever's bad that doesn't belong in us, cleans it out, but leaves the good in place, which I need something like that. I always need something that'll give my immune system support, but not knock everything out in the process. And so most people who are out there are taking this spice and they're juicing it or they're sprinkling it on their chicken and saying, I'm using turmeric, but I'm not feeling anything. The thing
Right.
is, when you take the fresh form, yes, it's good. It has some benefit. When you dry it into the spice, that's even more concentrated. That's why Indians are the largest consumer of turmeric in the world. We do use it in our cooking daily, 3 times a day. If you're going to do that, add black pepper or a healthy fat. Black pepper increases that absorption by 2,000%. And then the healthy fat is going to increase the absorption and help it cross the blood-brain barrier. And then finally, there's the extract. And so the extract is the curcuminoids. About 3 to 5% of turmeric is the curcuminoids. Curcumin is the most effective at reducing inflammation. And so once I finished my PhD, people are like, okay, well, whose turmeric should I take? And I couldn't find one that I trusted that was actually potent to do the job. And so I ended up building my own. And my dream was to put it in every doctor's office in the whole country, to have every doctor say, oh, you're inflamed? You can take turmeric for that. And then the turmeric actually work, because we know a lot of people are buying turmeric, but they're not feeling anything. And so
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing for a decade, is teaching doctors, speaking at conferences, and then helping them help their patients. And then eventually I put it online for all of us because people are like, well, we shouldn't have to go to the doctor to get great turmeric. So that's what I've been up to, is teaching that turmeric is such a powerful tool. Let's use it. Let's win at that inflammaging. And then let's address lifestyle too. Otherwise, we're going to forever chase our tail and stay inflamed.
Can you define that? You've used that term a couple times, inflammaging. Can you define that term?
Sure. So inflammation, there's 2 types of inflammation. Acute inflammation, that one's an obvious one. It's when you like hurt yourself, you've hurt your elbow, and there's redness, there's swelling, there's pain, and your body's going to send an immune response to heal that one thing. Now, what happens is we're living in a society right now where we've got environmental toxins and burdens, high stress. The foods that we're eating may not be giving us all the vitamins and minerals we need. We might be eating a lot of processed food, processed oils, seed oils, just in the nature of living modern day life at the speed we're living at. And so you take that combination of environmental and lifestyle factors, and most of us are already inflamed. I think of us as we're aging, especially as women into our 40s, 50s, and 60s, as pre-inflamed. And that's why when we're heating each decade, it's just getting harder and harder. And so chronic, low-grade, persistent inflammation is like having a forest fire on the inside. The entire building is on fire, and we have just turned off the fire alarms because we don't want to hear it anymore. We're like, I don't have time. You can deal. It's fine. We'll address this later, especially as women. I think we like let the gas tank run to zero, and then we just say there's more in that gas tank and keep going and assume it's going to be fine. And so that's where these inflammaging symptoms come up, where we're like, oh, the joint pain, the aches and pains, the brain fog, weight gain that's resistant. All these things creep up. Blood work starts to show inflammation. We're like, I will deal with that later. But it's not aging, it's inflammaging. And we can take an active role and win at inflammation. I believe in using turmeric first and turmeric extracts. Like, let's just win at the inflammation so you have the energy to then go invest in good sleep, invest in eating better, invest in reducing that toxic burden, and we can go step by step through those different chapters of getting healthy. In my book, The Inflammation Code, I teach about my 6 pillars of Ayurveda, and I wanted the world to know there's a lifestyle plan to winning at inflammation. But sometimes we need like the cheat code to get there first and faster, and then we can bring in the bigger lifestyle tools.
We have these fire alarms that are going off that we need to start paying attention to. Women, we are driven and we just keep going. And you had like the best analogy, like we will go all the way, even past that there's no more gas. What are like some of the more subtle signs that, hey, let's start paying attention? You need to get on this and do something.
You know, it's interesting. I think in our 30s, we start to say some of the things that are kind of inflammaging indicators. So I remember in my 30s, I had my kids and I was like, wow, my brain's not working anymore. I guess I gave it to my kids. And I kept saying that, like, where's my memory? Where's my focus? I used to have these file cabinets of Ayurvedic knowledge, and I feel like I can't access them the same way. That was subclinical thyroid dysfunction. And thyroid dysfunction and all these things can be rooted in inflammation and or gut dysbiosis. And so I had to pause and really go to functional medicine and address that. Another one is gut being off. A lot of women in their 40s start to say, you know what, I'm eating the same foods, but I feel like I'm allergic to everything. Like on any given day, this food is not suiting me. That's a sign of gut inflammation, gut being off and reacting to things all of a sudden, but it's not all of a sudden. It's really an accumulation. And so when we talk about that high achieving woman who's busy, I've had my company for a decade, it's growing, I've got kids, they're not young anymore, they're teenagers. So it's like you're full throttle on about 8 fronts at the same time. And usually our message to ourselves is, I'll get to that. I'll get to me later because I've got the kids, the spouse, the relationships, the commitments, the parents who are aging, the business, the work, the house. Like there's so much responsibility in there. And the gas tank analogy is really good because we're actually not just hitting empty and saying, I've got a few more miles, it's fine. We're going deeper and deeper towards the bottom of the tank. The car is running on fumes. And then you've got the crud at the bottom of the tank that you're now letting run through your engine. And eventually the body says, I'm done. Like I have no reserves. You have zero resilience left. You've now damaged this vehicle, this machine, and we can't perform at the same level. And that's usually when we start saying, okay, I hear the fire alarms. They're all going off at once. I got to find someone. I did that last year. I called a friend of mine who's a physician. I was like, I need help. Everything's going off at the same time. I got to function because I have to keep going. So what are we going to do here? And so I think that's the midlife woman, a high achieving who just hits a wall. And my point in bringing all this wisdom forward is we're coming in pre-inflamed. We started kicking off inflammation in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s. And in our modern Western culture, we actually don't have like a practice of pausing and taking care of ourselves on a seasonal basis and really making space for ourselves. So I teach dinacharya, daily self-care rhythms that are detoxing and supportive. I teach seasonal detoxing, annual detoxing as wisdom we can use to start putting those stop gaps in. Because if we don't put in the brakes on being in our sympathetic nervous system 24/7, that's where this accumulation of inflammation comes in. We're talking a lot nowadays about cortisol, nervous system. It's all tied together. We have to pause and address it. And sometimes when you're a high achieving woman, you're like, I still don't have time for that. And so I try to build it as the tiniest of rituals you build in that fit right into what you're already going to do. So like an example of that would be tea time is me time. I teach pause 4 times a day inside of your business day as you're running around at 100 miles an hour and have a cup of tea to tune into your own intuition and get some answers around what your body really needs that day so you are supported.
That resonates so much. Tea time is me time. I love that. And I feel like there's this thought that rest is not productive, but even machines need maintenance, So I love what you're doing, just advocating for pausing seasonally, annually, throughout the day. Yes, yes, and yes. There are these super spices. And are there 5 that you feel like, hey, everybody needs to know about that?
Absolutely. My number one by far is turmeric by like a landslide. I think turmeric is my number one choice because we have so much science that proves it to be true. And it's such a powerhouse. Like it's the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compound we have. And that's a big deal because a lot of times when we're in pain, we're just going to pop an NSAID and we're just going to keep on going. And so turmeric's my number one. My number 2 would be ginger. Ginger's also a powerful anti-inflammatory. It is so gut healing. So ginger's easy. You can either buy fresh ginger, put it in your tea in the morning. You can put it into more foods. It goes beautifully into Mexican food, Indian food. Any Asian dish will take ginger. And so it's kind of easy to start to bring more ginger in. If you're always on the road and traveling, sometimes you can buy bagged teas and just keep them on you so you can get their support. So you can get bagged ginger tea too and keep that on your morning rituals still while you're running around. Some people have started grating and preparing everything into ice cubes so that in the morning, you don't have even a couple minutes to make tea. No big deal. You pop the ice cube in, it's in hot water, it melts, you get the benefits. So it's just about making it work for you. I would say my third one would be ashwagandha. We're living through a moment, or really in probably a millennia or a couple hundred years or a century or two of like high stress. So as we're going through such stressful times in the season, ashwagandha as an adaptogen helps the body
Yes.
respond better to stress. And it has this thermostat level reaction in the body where if you're anxious and stressed, it calms you down. If you're depressed and feeling low, lifts you up. It just meets you where you are and regulates you for exactly where you are. Some people are using it for sleep. And so I love ashwagandha because it's just so calming. And so if I'm ever going through life, like a stressful season in life, I'll just bring ashwagandha on to support me so the stress doesn't take as big of a toll. And I think that's important to know as high achieving women. Like, I just had a book launch and it was insanity. And so it was important to bring ashwagandha and different adaptogens on board to help regulate. My fourth one would be shatavari. We pronounce it shatavari here in the West, shatavari. Shatavari is it's like a reproductive health tonic from Ayurveda. So as we're talking about perimenopause, menopause, these big transitions with our hormone health, shatavari is like going to help regulate like an adaptogen. And it's really powerful. We call it the queen of the adaptogenic herbs. And so I love using that on my menopausal women, perimenopause women, and helping them get like the cooling effects, the calming effects, and really the nourishment and support that we need through that time frame. I put it into a tea that I made called menopause support tea because I was like, I need this twice a day for therapeutic support. So I really design around what we need in the midlife. I have a deep sleep
Yes.
tea that has ashwagandha, and unwind tea to help us unwind at the end of the day instead of taking a glass of wine or chocolate or, all the foods we might be eating at the end of our day to calm the system. I put
Mm.
everything into a tea, so we just use that tea. And number 5, it's really hard to pick. I would say cumin seeds out of all the other ones, because there's so many great ones. But cumin seeds are so powerful. They are a pre-digestive. So anytime you're going to cook beans, lentils, meat, anything hard to digest, half a teaspoon of cumin seeds will support the digestion and absorption of that meal. And that's a big
Mm.
deal. I want everyone to digest and absorb everything that we are eating so we get that nutrient density and vitamins and minerals. So that would be my number 5.
There's some people who will not, they don't want to take meds, but they do want to support their health. And so it's always nice to have other options. And also, shatavari for menopause and perimenopause is a real thing. And not everyone wants to take hormones.
Right. For sure.
So, yeah, all of those are great, great, great. And you had mentioned the 6 pillars, and I wanted to know if you could just touch on those for the time we have remaining.
For sure. So in my book, I talk about the 6 pillars of Ayurveda that I have collected as the main 6 pillars that'll move the needle for us when it comes to our health. I've been doing work with clients for the last decade. And as I've seen we need help in certain key areas. Number 1 would be know your elemental design and know how to apply it to all the areas of your life. Number 2 would be circadian clock, which came from Ayurveda. And so Ayurveda teaches us how to live according to that circadian rhythm. So we're flowing downhill with the river of life with ease, as opposed to swimming upstream against the river of life. And so that really means live in rhythm with nature, which so many of
Mm.
us don't do. We're battling on both ends. We're like, I have to wake up early to accomplish 200 things, and I'm sleeping late to accomplish 200 things. But what we don't realize is we're taking away all the recovery. We're taking away clearance of the lymphatic system and glymphatic system, and taking away gifting ourselves regeneration and healing at night
Mm.
that helps us clear inflammation and thus think and function better the next day. And so there's a lot to learn in circadian rhythm that can help us live on a rhythm that supports vitality and resilience and overall health. Then I teach about food, gut digestive fire. Gut digestive fire is central. We teach that digestive fire in our body, we call it Agni, is the center of all health, your brain health, your mood, your energy, your resilience. And whenever our gut microbiome gets knocked out, we feel tired, depleted, low energy. We try to keep going, but we're not feeling the same. And so Ayurveda has so many tools for maintaining a robust gut digestive health. Then we talk about food. We call it the sattvic diet, this yogic diet that's nourishing and supports vitality in our health. And it's not that complicated. It's eat fresh, great local food, preferably organic. But we do have some practices around how to eat and when to eat that really support our ability to digest that food and receive the nutrition and benefits. And so part of the Ayurvedic diet is a circadian diet, seasonal diet, eating for your elemental design so you're optimal and digest that food and things like that. So that's pillar number 4. Pillar number 5 would be dinacharya, daily self-care rituals that really build a body that's peaceful. So that's things like meditation, yoga, breath work, pranayam. It's things like using a copper tongue scraper in the morning, which is so beneficial. We teach that all the organs of
Yes.
the body are reflected on the tongue, just like they're reflected on the bottom of our feet. And so when we scrape that
Yes.
tongue gently, we're actually massaging all our organs, detoxing all of our organs from accumulation, supporting gut digestive fire and health first thing. And it takes less than 30 seconds. So that's what I mean by rituals built into your day that are an easy habit stack, but provide these 10x, 100x level results that support us in having the vitality and resilience we crave. And then finally, the 6th pillar has to be super spices because I'm your spice girl who loves the spices. And so I teach so much about recipes and spices and using them because we are chasing a lot of superfoods, but why forget the super spices that can do the same job? Yeah, and that's it.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, our audience will absolutely want to connect with you. How might they do that?
Absolutely. So my website is drshivani.com. And on that website, you'll find my socials, like my Instagram is at dr.shivani.gupta. I have free 7-day inflammation challenges, free masterclasses. Everything's kind of in that hub. And from that site, you'll link to my podcast, as well as my Ayurvedic supplements and teas. That company is called fusionaryformulas.com. And I have the code Soul Power, which will give them 15% off on their first order for your audience.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Shivani Gupta, it has been wonderful to have you on. I am amazed by all the great things you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you. If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.